Didn't really have a good start in life. My mum had me at a very, very early age, and I fell into social services quite early on. Then it was correctional boarding schools, and then I ended up in jail when I was 16. I ended up being homeless because of my continuous use of drugs. You know, the steady progression of using eventually brought me to my knees, until I lost responsibility of how I looked, how I dressed, how I ate, how I slept, and it just seemed easier to be homeless. I suppose the worst thing about being homeless is, you know, when you're sitting there and you don't really want to be there, you know, and you see people walking past you and they, you know, they've got smiles on their face and they're looking happy, you know, and they're talking about normal things like what they've done that day or what they're doing that evening. And you just want to be like them, but you don't know how to be like them. St Mungo's done a lot for me when I was rough sleeping, in the sense that they were consistent and they were persistent in chasing me up and following me up. Initially having that first point of contact with me and enabling me to either get into a hostel, getting on a maintenance script, and just being there if I needed to talk about what was going on for me.
I remember when Jason first moved into the hostel, he wasn't interested in anything. He said to us that, look, just leave me alone. He was quite withdrawn from the activities that we do in the hostel. He wasn't interested in anything. All he wanted to do was just stay and sleep in his room.
The turning point for me was when I was in jail on my last prison sentence, and I didn't want to stay in there, but I sure as hell didn't want to come out, because I knew what was waiting for me when I come out, and that was, you know, rough sleeping again or using drugs. And it was one of St Mungo's staff that actually come and visited me to my prison door and asked me if I wanted to go into detox, and I agreed. And 18 months in, I haven't looked back. Well, what it is that I'm doing now is I'm volunteering for St Mungo's. I'm with the Move On training. Basically what I do is I try and empower people back into independent living. So we look at all their, you know, different housing options, you know, money management. We look at their needs rather than their wants. And what it's done for me is it's gave me a lot of self-worth, a lot of sense of achievement.
Jason's story shows the capacity of the human mind to change. It's an example of a situation where if you have the right support in place, you are motivated to do things for yourself. Jason found the right thing he wanted and he was able to go for it, and going for it, it changed his perception of life.
Words can't describe what it's meant to me for St Mungo's to do what it is that they've done for me, because without their support I wouldn't be sitting here today doing what I'm doing. You know, it's as simple as that.